Oh my God, we still got to check out this van.
What van?
This one. We're just riding our bikes through Wellington, Texas, and we come across this holy cow van, which has probably had a cool conversion. I just want to look around it. Looks like it's on a Freightliner chassis. I'm not sure how long it is. People think we're crazy because we got to stop and look at every cool van that we see. But dualies. AC. I bet you it's totally solar. So it's a Sprinter chassis, Blue Tech, so it's diesel. I'm gonna knock on these people's door, see if they're in there and whether they'll give us a tour of what they've been doing here.
Hey!
Hi guys, this is just the coolest van, and we're just driving by on our bikes and we thought we want to check this out. You guys probably did this all yourself, right?
Yes, we did.
Yep, we started with this Freightliner van about 6-8 months ago.
February.
It was a used van, and Wendy found it online. It happened to be only an hour from our house. It was originally a Coffin salesman's van.
How cool is
So
that?
yeah, its first life was delivering coffins around the Metro Detroit area, and of course we had a medium come through and make sure there are no spirits. So it's clean, it's all positive. So yeah, we started from that.
So just to recap, its first life was end of life, and now you've given it new life?
It's
I like that, yeah.
That's perfect. Yes, a new life, a new RV van life.
So we
Nice.
call him Morty. I wanted to call her Morticia, but they didn't like that, so we settled on Morty. So we call him
All
Morty.
right.
Had no windows other than the front windows. So in February, cold Michigan, we cut windows in. So we put all the 2 windows on the side and the 2 rear windows. Then we insulated. When it picked up in May, we cut the holes for the ceiling. And so we put the fantastic fan, a skylight, and air condition. We were on the fence about it, air condition. My dad really suggested we do it, and we're like, oh, we don't need air. And then we actually met Ross Lukeman of Alternative Homes. He does Sprinter van build-outs at a conference, and he said, no, you want to have air condition. The reason we were hesitant is all the electrical. We weren't real sure on how to do the electrical. So Ross Lukeman, actually, we hired him. He had been building out vans, helping people. We were his 5th help build, and he designed our electrical, and we actually flew him into Michigan, and we had all the rough electrical ready to go, and then he put it all together for us. So he gauged all our wires. We were very concerned about doing it the wrong way. So moving on to the inside, we are not cabinet builders and don't pretend to be them. So we used IKEA hacks as much as possible. So all the lower cabinets are IKEA. I lived with the guide and the measurements, and these are IKEA drawer fronts. So our cupboards either had to be 5, 10, or 15 in height. So we built the base of the cabinet because nothing's square in a van. So we did build this out. We built this cabinet, but then we put just IKEA fronts on them.
Okay.
We did all of the Vermica ourselves, started with, ordered it from Lowe's and delivered. We found the circles. We started a circle theme where our sink was the first one, is a Kia sink. And then we saw this material. We had a special order from Lowe's. It is not tile, it's a rubber back because we did not want to mess with tile, but it looks like tile.
It does.
So then we just kept going with the whole circle theme, and we found this countertop, so it was delivered. We got it priced out, and they wanted like $600 or $700 in 6 weeks. It wouldn't have been ready for this trip.
Right.
So I'm like, we can do this. YouTube's amazing. So we figured out how to do a laminate countertop, and then I found someone that did maple, so we were able to router it ourselves. And then it allowed us to build this little table, which is the Lagoon table mount, which is amazing.
Nice.
So it articulates out.
Up and down, in and out. And we've had, both of us can sit here with our laptops. We eat here. And then we continued with the circle theme
I see
over
it.
here. Found these just at Menards, $10, and these were container factors. So just as we started doing circles, a lot of people ask us about our walls. And again, I had mentioned Nate Murphy did this back where you define the front and the back to kind of give you a defined space. Wanted to stay with light colors. And this is Luan with closed 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch closed cell foam, and then just a fabric from Joann's, so something kind of textured.
Very
It's
nice.
an adhesive.
And we used a spray adhesive to kind of keep it all together. And then to hide the fasteners, we found snaps that you could screw in and then snap, so to kind of to hide that. Wanted to stay light. I loved this. A lot of the younger generation, the build outs
I
do
see
the
that.
pine. We used brass screws so you wouldn't. It blended more, so we weren't having to hide them. And we use Danish oil and a waxing paste as opposed to polyurethane. And then just kind of found the rest of the stuff, made our own window treatments so they fit into the window with magnets.
Oh,
And,
that's cool.
So saw that online.
So
a lot
that
of
gives you privacy and insulation.
Yep. It's layered here, so it's magnetic, but it's actually got a foil back inside, so it keeps the heat out and it
Nice.
insulates well. So we'll just put that down for now. So
Do you have a stove?
yes, we do. We wanted a very open layout. I have to eat in a lot. We try to limit how much we eat out just because of my diet. So we wanted our criteria was no propane. So there is no propane. We wanted electric and that's where we have the stove here. So in our drawer we have, again, IKEA, very inexpensive, $45. I just learned how to manage the wattage. I do know I can't heat up water and use my stove at the same time, because our inverter is 2,000 watts. So this can go up to 1,200. Our microwave and others can go over 1,000. So we just learned to manage it. So that's how we do our cooking.
And where is your microwave?
This is my husband's. I was not going to do this. I was just going to put a curtain here, and he insisted on a Tamber door. I didn't know anything about Tamber doors. And so there's our microwave,
Oh, wow.
our hot water, our French press, and our toaster. And so we do a lot of warming up. And then I found this. It was tapeease.com for the Tamber door. We told him we were going on this trip. I told him what I needed. And I'm like, if you can get it out here by Thursday, I had it installed and we were taking off. So like within a week, he helped me online. I took pictures of the space and then he set it up. So Larry's like, I really want to do a Tamber door. I'm like, oh, let's just do a curtain. But he was right. It would have fallen. I was going to put little braces on everything. So that worked out well. This is truckfridge.com. It's the same as the high-end marine fridges. I saw online from a Kenny Tube. He suggested truckfridge.com. I actually talked to the people down at Truckfridge, and they confirmed that it's all the same makings. It's a 12 volt. It can be AC, but we're just using it 12 volt. And it's, I believe, 4.6. It's one of the biggest you can find. So we've been here almost a week and a half, and we've barely
Haven't made a dent.
Barely made a dent. But it is about $600 or $700 compared to the marine. It's the same makings for about $1,200 to $1,400.
Wow.
So we were able to find that. So that was a really neat. We found that on YouTube from somebody using it, and then the manufacturer confirmed it. The retailer.
And your
So-
flooring?
Our flooring is an engineered. It's from Lowe's,
Floating
and
floor.
it's flooring. It's a snap together floor.
Oh, okay.
So it's a floating floor, and then we liked it because it's about 7 mils, so it's got its own backing. We didn't have to put the foam down, and we used the manufacturer's floor we didn't put up a plywood floor. And right here, there's the big hole where the tie downs were, but because this was so thick, we felt we could lay right over it and not have to fill in all the holes. So that was what we did there. He wanted to avoid propane, so the other option was diesel. So when Ross came in, I mentioned Ross Lukeman, he also installed, it's gonna be messy in here, but our diesel heater. So if you can pan down here, so it's in a protective cage, but this is an S-bar diesel heater. It's the E2 series, and he came in and he hooked that up, ran the fuel line, and so we don't need to have an alternate gas. So diesel and our solar.
So is that a ducted system, or how does that work?
It's a blower system. This is the intake.
Yeah.
And then it goes through, and there's the outtake, and so it's just
Okay.
a blower.
So
pulls,
it's a single source heat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It pulls. Yes, exactly. It pulls the fuel from the diesel system, and that his running that. When he talks about our gray system, we had to do some redesign because in our gray water space is where they had to run the fuel line. So we had to do some juggling there.
Okay.
Great.
It was not supposed to go here. When we flew Ross out, it was supposed to go here. All of the online, the 2006 Mercedes and even the newer Mercedes all fit right there. Ours, for whatever reason, the Mercedes Freightliner, it's the same brand. Freightliner is the commercial brand of Mercedes. It bumps out, so there was no way, in other Mercedes it's flat. So for our 2011 it bumped out, and he got here and he's like, I can't put it there. So we were pretty much finished.
So this also gives you a bunch of extra storage.
It sure does.
So Wendy left me the fun things to talk about. We actually have a porta potty on the van, and it's a Thetford smooth curved porta potty here. So we decided to go with this unit. It's kind of easy in and out, and it's self-contained. We don't have a black water tank. We do have gray water that's hooked into the sink and the rest of the water system. But this is van life, you know. You get used to living with your partner in close quarters.
So you don't have a black water.
Right. The tank it's all self-contained.
So you dump the tank itself.
Yep.
It's not composting.
It is not composting. So we do also have a water system built in. We've got a 20-gallon water tank that's underneath the bed area, and that ties into the sink, where there's also a small hot water heater as well, a 2.5-gallon Bosch hot water heater, which we actually haven't used yet. We've been just boiling a little bit of water for our needs, so we're just figuring out our lifestyle. So the gray tank is mounted underneath the unit, underneath the rig, and so we had to figure out how to hang this 20-gallon gray tank and be able to drain it out as well. So that was a little challenging.
Your water heater, is that an inline heater or does it have a tank?
It is. It has
like an
a tank.
on-demand?
Yep. And if I can show you under the sink,
We'll pull the garbage out.
it is.
We wanted to do an inline, and Ross helped us move away from that because it's too much of
A draw on the batteries.
Oh, yeah.
electricity.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean it's 2.5 gallons. It's tied in to the water pump, and it's pretty efficient over the on-demand. Wendy mentioned Ross Lukeman. I think his site is alternativehomes.com.
Right.
And he does training. He was fantastic in helping us set all of this up. We had the space defined, but he helped come in, put in the circuits, the DC fuse box, the AC inverter. We can charge off of the engine, so our battery pack, which is underneath the Tamber doors, can charge from the engine, can charge from the solar panel, and can charge from shore power as well. So we can plug in at a campground. And so we have to manage based on our battery availability. And then we have a number of power points to charge phones and so forth. We don't really have a TV or anything like that. You know, we've got our usual computers and iPads and so forth. These types of dimmers are specially designed for DC circuits. You can't use just a regular dimmer from Home Depot for DC circuits. So these are pretty pricey little units, but they work great for the DC
Amazon.
lights.
And your shore power system is 30 amp?
Yeah, it's a 30
okay.
amp. Yep.
Okay.
So back buried in here is the inverter converter. It's a 2,000 watt pure sine wave Renogy unit. So it's got AC plugs off the back, and then also ties into the DC circuits as well.
Okay. And did you say you have solar on the roof? Or
Yep.
You?
We have an LG panel that's
325 watt rigid. Our Ross, our guy that worked with us, had some negative experiences with the flexible ones and not holding their charge. So he really moves everybody if you have the space and aren't afraid to mount on your roof, drill holes in to hold it firm to go with a rigid panel. It's more longer term. They have like a 10-year warranty, and so we've seen a lot of YouTubers come. They start with the flexible panels, and then a year later they're doing a review that they've had issues with the flexible. So we just went rigid right away.
We've got 3 90-pound AGM batteries that have about 455 amp hours of power. So we're charging from the solar panel, and also can charge shore power like I mentioned before. The bed area again is all IKEA. The mattress is IKEA. The box spring, or the springs underneath here, you can see, you can go right to IKEA and get the springs. And so we sized it based on, this is a full size, I think, full size mattress for us, which is a little cozier than what we have at home, but I guess we're snuggling more now that we're doing van life. The unique thing back here is that the bed frame is all made out of aluminum underneath the box spring area, and that the aluminum bars are all removable. I play in a band back at home, back in the Detroit area, rushhourjam.com. So nice. You can, there's a shameless plug for you. And I need a van to haul subwoofers and drums and guitars and all of that. And so all of the bed, the mattress, and those lower cabinets are all removable. So it's all bolted together, and I can remove it. Probably takes 15-20 minutes or so to get everything out, and then I can move all my band equipment in, and the van is even useful there. So other things in back, we did the upper cabinets, we did LED lighting throughout, as well as a little mood lighting here. Let me see if I can turn on our mood lighting for, you know, those special evenings when it's rainy and you need to crack a bottle of wine.
Larry's gonna show us the basement that they've created in this van, and it's as good as Class A storage.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, the way we designed the level of the bed here was Wendy sitting up and how low the bed could be, and we wanted to maximize the basement area, not only for the band equipment as well, but we haul a bunch of other stuff, and we're still trying to figure out how to best utilize it. What some of the cool features, like I mentioned, this whole aluminum structure can come out and is all bolted into the van and itself using riv nuts, and it's a really cool tool. These riv nuts are female threaded nuts that you pop in like pop rivets, and then you can screw the bolts in. It worked really well for designing this area. And then I put the water tank, that's the fresh water tank with the typical SureFlow RV pump, and there's an accumulator there as well that helps manage the flow and keeps it a little more consistent. And then buried back in there are the batteries as well. So we added a couple other features, a small utility light here, as well as a little power point to be able to plug in a pump for the tires if we need to pump something up. And we designed this area to hopefully eventually get some fold-up e-bikes and store them, so we've got some other flexibility. And then we finished off the doors, and Wendy highlighted these magnetic window covers as well that work really, really cool for all the windows. She spent a lot of time putting these together and sewing magnets in by hand. And the overall length on this Sprinter van is a 170 inch wheelbase. It's their longest van and tallest van as well that Mercedes makes. It's a 3500 chassis, so it's got the dual rear wheels as well. So we're not too concerned about how much weight we put in the van. Ride's great. We averaged about 18 miles per gallon with the diesel on the way down here from Detroit. So that was a big plus for us. And we didn't break down, so its first road trip we were pretty happy. So just a couple of things on this side of the van. You can see underneath on the bottom, this is where we mounted our gray water tank. That's about a 20-gallon gray water tank, and then I added a valve off the back so that we can drain that. The other thing that you can see on top, of course, we need to be connected, is our WeBoost antenna so that we can stay connected on Facebook and with the kids. And then the air conditioner is a Coleman low profile air conditioner, so it's a little lower than some of the typical RV units, but it's perfectly sized for this van.
So if you guys don't mind, can you now just share the numbers, all the numbers? Everybody wants to know them.
Time and money.
Sure. So we paid about 24 with tax, 24,000 for the vehicle, and then Larry wanted to make sure that everything, we didn't know baseline how it had been driven, so we took it to a Sprinter Mercedes, and they gave us a grocery list of things that they thought should be done in the next year. We happened to be not able to work on it for a month, so Larry said just have it all done. So that came to about $5,000. And you know, what are some things that were done?
We did brakes and tie rods and belts and hoses and oil change, all the typical maintenance stuff. So even though the van is a 2011 and it has 150,000 miles, we know it's in pretty good shape.
Right. And in that number, we also had the trailer braking system and hitch put on. Cost-wise, I was summing up as we were making our drive from Detroit, and I estimate somewhere between 15 to 20,000 in the build. We were not necessarily looking to do it the cheapest way. We knew this was something we were to keep. You know, the air condition was $700. Our batteries were our 455 amps. They were $1,000. So, you know, water heater $250. So we weren't really watching to save expenses. We didn't do lithium ion. That was the technology still new, but we may upgrade to that eventually. So, and then hours, you were asking hours. I figured about 1,200 hours of us combined, and also we kept mentioning Ross. So that's 2 one-week vacations in there, and then Saturdays, Sundays, and evenings. Although we have 3 kids that are very active, they're young adults, and we never compromised activities, so we were able to fit that in. That was very important that we would do this. We helped both our children move, and we refinished our daughter's floor, trim. They moved into a house. So in amongst all of this, we still kept wanting to help them. We said we don't want our van bill to affect how we would help you when you were doing things in life.
That's why we're ready for a vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
No kidding.
We are tired.
They have a list of things when we get back they want us to help them with.
So now that you're on the road, the van is completely usable, how long are you going to stay on the road?
So it's interesting because we're all here at Nomad Fest, and there's all these full-timers, and we talked, well, what are we considered? Because we're still working, we've got a couple of years until retirement, and the term that came up is we're sometimers. So we are trying to take as many of these trips, connect with the RV community. We love the people, we love the energy that's brought here, and so this was probably our first big trip down to Texas, and then we've got a trip planned in January to
the Escapees, Lake Havasu.
Yeah, Lake Havasu. And what this van allows us to do is to travel quicker than, say, if we had a 45 monster size vehicle, which, you know, if we were living full time, we'd probably want to consider something larger. But actually, the way we're getting along, you know, maybe we would, some people full time in this size van. So,
and it's fun. This is fun because you have to figure it out and you make it work.
Yeah, and so you are limited with space, so you can't take things that you want to take with you.
Excellent. So when we're looking at this van talking about does size matter, I mean, I can practically sit up completely just in the basement area. There is so much storage in here. This would totally work for us. We would love to have this. And I mean, then you've still got this bed on top. Is this a good enough door, babe?
I think it's got enough headroom.
I think we could make this work, eh? Larry and Kathy are letting me do, you know, my little walkthrough of everything, and just to see how we feel. Pretty tall in here, so we like the openness. The large windows, right now they've got it covered with their magnetic covers, which insulate as well as give them privacy. So I love that idea. So they can have this as open as they want, whenever they want, and it just hooks up with magnets. So I love the countertop space. This is huge. This is a pretty big sink. They have a pretty big fridge. Oops, sorry. They have a pretty big fridge and lots of storage. These are big cabinets. Underneath their seating area, more storage. And the all-important toilet is right here. And they built this all into this van with all the systems necessary. So it's very cool. They've got an articulating table so that they can move it around. It's completely functional. Nothing is blocking your way in here. They got a nice little step up, and I can, oh, hang on. I can sit up on their bed, and they've got a skylight. It's big and spacious in here. I really think it's very well done. So what do you think? Does size matter here?
I think that they've made size work for them.
They
with
have
this
totally
unit.
made it.
Yeah.
We could manage in here, no
Totally.
problem.
Yeah.
Now we're thinking about something else.
Aha.